A very good evening to everyone. So today we have our special guest with us, Mr. Sumit Nagpal, who is a TV journalist turned lawyer practicing media, IP, and technology laws. He has founded Spread Law Group to spread legal awareness in India. He has also been teaching media, IP, and cyber laws to journalism and management students. In December 2018, he was appointed as a central government counsel at Delhi High Court and is one of the top 10 Quora writers globally. He is also an advisor to Bloggers Alliance, an association of bloggers and content creators. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today from whole Bloggers Alliance family and giving us your time. So it will be a small conversation, sir. I have created some questions around your life, your journey. So if I may go along that only.
Yes.
Okay, sir. So, sir, like the shift from TV journalist to a lawyer would have been quite challenging for you. So, how did you manage it, and what basically encouraged you, motivated you for this transition?
I would say that I was in a live-in relationship with law, and finally I decided to get married to it. So I was a journalist, but I was always fond of reading law. I wanted to gain more and more knowledge, and that is why, after completing my graduation, I decided to pursue law. In fact, I wanted to be a journalist, but law was something, it was very close to my heart. My parents were like confused that you want to be a journalist, but at the same time, you want to continue with law also. So when I did my LLB, it was very difficult for me to convince my whole family that despite the fact that I wanted to be a journalist, I was pursuing law. So law was a subject which always fascinated me, and I was in love with it. And when I became a journalist, so the editor asked me that what are the areas in which you would like to go. I told him that I can do politics, I can do sports. Initially, I can do anything, but as a young reporter, it is very difficult to get opportunities. So in my office, everybody was like doing politics, fashion, crime, or sports, but very few people were inclined towards law. And whenever there was a big story, there would not be any reporter for the courts. So I told my editor that I have a strong interest in law and I should start doing it. So my editor, when he got to know that I was pursuing law at that time, he said that it is a good idea. You should start covering courts. So I started covering courts, and then I started working for TV channels. I worked for India TV. I worked for India News. I worked for Live India. I worked for NewsX, and I had the opportunity to do some internships in Z. So at that time, I started working as a TV journalist, specializing in law. And when I started doing this, people started liking my work, and I was given opportunities to cover the district courts. Then I went to High Court. Then I went to Supreme Court. And regarding Supreme Court, I can say I really enjoyed covering Supreme Court because uh, Supreme Court had become very active in those days. That was the time of judicial activism. You would see so many PILs coming, and the Supreme Court judges were very active and passing orders. And unlike today, we don't see activism nowadays. We see very high-profile matters going to the Supreme Court. That is true. But when it comes to landmark decisions, when it comes to election laws, when it comes to various other issues, so we were like seeing a lot of activism in Supreme Court, judicial activism, we call it. And that is how I, enjoyed my journey as a legal journalist. But shifting to law was a different thing altogether. We can cover it like in the next part.
The shift was quite challenging, and even now I can see it in your face how much the love is there towards law for you and how you chose that career. It is very encouraging to see this. So, sir, you also teach law, and you believe that teaching law generally means learning law. So, would you like to share some interesting experience about your teaching experience in around that?
See, I never thought of getting into teaching, never. But I was fortunate enough that I had regular interaction with Mr. Ram Jethmalani, one of the most famous and well-respected, well-known lawyers in India. And because I was a journalist, I used to, always go for his interviews. One day, I asked him that you are, approaching 90 years of age and you're so energetic.
Hmm.
How do you manage all this? So he gave me the mantra for long life. He said, the older you get, the younger should be your company.
Mhm.
I was so surprised that at the age of around, like he was around 88 or 89 at that time. I was so surprised. I said, sir, what are you talking about? The younger should be your company. You should be like a little, you know, you should not say such things. When you grow older, younger should be your company. He said, you are not able to understand my point. I said, what? He said, when I say that younger should be your company, it means that you should interact and teach young students. So that is what he meant when he said the younger should be your company. We obviously took it in a different tone altogether. So Mr. Jetmalani said that teaching is one of the best activities to keep you young. So he said whenever you interact with young students, they are full of energy, full of ideas, and they are like full of life. And when you are interacting with young students, it gives so much of energy when it comes to enthusiasm, energy. It's a very good thing, and you should teach. So accidentally, I got an opportunity to take two classes in Bharti Vidya Bhavan. There was, I think, the teacher was not available, so somebody called me, somebody known to me. He called me and said, can you take like 2 3 classes, because we don't have anyone right now to teach law, and I want you to take the classes. I said I had never taught. How do I teach law to media students? He said, please just to explain a little bit about law, and that would be good. So I called up Mr. Jetmalani. I said, I have got this opportunity. Do you think I should get into it? He said, why not? This is a very good opportunity. It was, I think, 2010. In 2010, he told me that you should start teaching. Then, when I took the classes, the students liked it very much, and it was like fun, I would say, when the interaction took place. And I love the curious faces of the students who were so shocked at times. They were curious, they were happy, they were sad when they knew that we are doing certain things, and those things can get you into trouble. So they were shocked, they were worried, and I told them these are the provisions of law a journalist must remember. Always, all the students were journalism students. So I used to tell them this is something which you need to keep in mind. This is something which you need to know. For example, like you cannot disclose the identity of a rape victim. Very good interaction, and that is how like the students liked it very much. I had gone there for like 2 classes or 3 classes, then I continued for 3 months till the time we completed the batch. The students said that we are enjoying it thoroughly and you should please continue. So this is how I started teaching law. And then every year I used to get a call from Bharti Vidya Bhavan that you have to take the classes, and it was a wonderful experience. I loved it, and since then it is continuing. And now what I do generally, I do legal awareness workshop for schools. We have a group called Spread Law, and this particular group is basically what we are doing is that we are going to the schools. We don't charge anything. We tell them that we want to have legal awareness sessions, because the youngsters, especially the students of 9th, 10th, and 11th, they have been using social media extensively. They have been doing certain things which can get them into trouble. We have seen cases where like some youngsters have gone to jail just because they liked a post on Facebook, or they retweeted something. So that is how the teaching started, and I'm still like doing it. Either I'm teaching media students, or I'm doing these legal awareness workshops in schools. That is how like things are going on, and I'm just telling you that I'm enjoying it thoroughly. I love doing it.
Well, like, what a fortunate moment. Like, coincidentally, you got to teach, and like you are gaining so much like so much joy in that, and even students got to learn so much from you. So it is really a good thing. And so, like, you are a great social media influencer, also one of the top 5 writers worldwide on Quora on the topic of trademark law. So, how did you achieve this great success in social media world also?
So I would say that Quora happened because I must admit I had nothing to do when I shifted to law practice.
Mhm.
And Quora happened because when you shift to law practice, nobody gives you the cases. You have to, look for clients and you have to earn your bread and butter. And in fact, first 5 years in legal profession are extremely tough. You cannot even imagine. I would say that when it comes to litigation, almost like 60 to 70% lawyers who get into litigation, they shift to jobs because it is so much time consuming, it is so much tiring, it doesn't give you money. And I had nothing to do when I shifted. One day I was a journalist, I resigned, and the other day I was a lawyer looking for work. So I had nothing to do and nothing to lose also. So I started writing on Quora because I had to spend time. One, secondly, I had to gain knowledge because when you take questions on Quora, sometimes you get very technical questions.
Yes.
And I wanted to practice. I'm sorry. I wanted to practice intellectual property rights law. So trademarks was one subject I was fond of, and I decided to get into it. So I started like getting some questions on Quora, and so I had nothing to do. So I started writing answers. So this is something. This was a subject I knew of because my wife was a trademark lawyer, and I had been like doing some work even before I resigned. I was just learning about this branch of law. So I started answering, and I did not realize that I wrote more than 600 answers. I wrote 600 answers on Quora on trademark law, and I never realized that how Quora functions. I was just simply typing answers and resolving queries. One day I got a notification from Quora that you are the most viewed writer on trademark law. I was so surprised. Then I seriously looked into it. Then I realized that I was writing answers and people were liking it. There's a option of upvote. The way Facebook has a like, on Quora it is upvote. So my answers were getting upvotes and people were really liking my answers. So that is how I got like I would say my views would be like 7.5 lakhs at present. I'm hoping to reach million, but at the moment it should be around that. I have not seen it for a long time because now I don't get time to answer on Quora. I miss those days when I had time to write answers. Now I do not have. And secondly, it's a free legal opinion. You don't get anything for that. So this is how the Quora journey had started, and I love doing it
So,
that time.
what an
It was a
amazing.
way, I would say that it was like it was legal awareness only for me because I was like, making people aware about it.
Yes.
And yes, one more thing, Quora got me work also. People started contacting me for giving me work because they saw that this person knows about this subject. So I started getting work. So that was a blessing in disguise.
Great, sir. So, like, what an amazing moment. You wrote 600 articles without even realizing, like, that is a great success, actually. So, sir, like, you have also created.
I was simply answering people. That's it.
So, like, it's really, on hearing this only, it is giving so much encouragement and motivation. And sir, also, like, you talked about the spread law, you have created that initiative. So anything extra you want to add on or tell us about that?
I would say that spread law I started because as a journalist, I saw the misery.
Mhm.
I saw saw the problems and troubles of people. Why I say so? Because when you are a journalist, so many people come to you saying that, we are not getting justice because our matters are pending in court for years and years together. And I had seen many cases where the people were fleeced. I would give you an example. Like in a case of, suppose, a bailable offense. In a bailable offense, you get bail as a matter of your right. But people do not know that bail is our right in this case. So they go to someone, that someone will say that I'll charge lakhs of rupees to get you bail in this case. The case in which bail is a right. I'm talking about bailable offenses. Just because of their sheer ignorance, they sell their property, they break their FDs to pay people. And this is how I felt very bad, that if people knew that in this case, as a matter of right, I'll be getting bail, why should I need to pay so much to somebody? So I saw that misery, that problem. And then I saw youngsters being arrested under section 66A of Information Technology Act. It was a horrible law passed by the government, which said you can be arrested just because you caused some inconvenience to somebody, you caused annoyance to somebody. Now, how do you define inconvenience? If you send hi message to some person at like 11 p.m. at night, it may be inconvenient for him, but that doesn't mean that you should get arrested for that. But you just read the internet, you see how many people have been arrested under 66A of Information Technology Act. So I used to feel very bad, going through all this news on internet when I used to get. So I thought that I should do something, and I was teaching law to journalism students. I thought, why should I not teach to the young students of the school? Then I thought that I should do some legal awareness workshops. And I can tell you, I've done workshops in top schools in Delhi, whether it is DPS Arkepuram, DPS International School, Indian School. We have recently done in the modern school. So the response has been tremendous. The teachers say that this is something we needed. The youngsters do not understand that what are the implications of something which we write on social media. We do not know. If we post something on Facebook, it can land you in jail. So the youngsters need to know. And that was the driving force in me, that when I see youngsters going to jail just because they liked something on Facebook, I feel extremely concerned. I feel very bad that a young mind has been sent to jail at the young age of like 20, 21, 22, 23 years of age. At that age, no one deserves to go to a jail just for liking something on social media, writing something on social media. That is why I'm doing my bit as a person who knows a little bit of law, who knows a little bit of communication, to make people legally aware. That is where the spread law comes. And I have been doing my best. We could not do workshops during Corona, but now we have again started. So we'll be continuing with that, hopefully.
It's really an inspiring step to create such initiative, because many people are not aware about this, and hearing the misery also, we can see that how crucial it is to learn about basic things. Thank you for this, sir. And sir,
Yes.
hmm, yes, sir. Sir, any other advice you would like to give to students who are very active on social media, or any other things you want to add up?
I don't want to give any advice as such, but I want to remind them of what Uncle Ben told Peter Parker in Spider-Man. I'm talking about Spider-Man 1, the first Spider-Man movie, which I saw. I liked it very much. Uncle Ben used to say, with great power comes great responsibility. And when you use social media, please remember what Uncle Ben told, that with great power comes great responsibility. It's a great tool. Social media is a great tool. But not knowing how to use this tool is very dangerous for youngsters. So you have to use it very responsibility, and you have to understand one basic thing. Every word you write on social media is subject to legal scrutiny. Every word you write. And you know, when you write something on the internet universe, it never comes back. It will remain there. Even if you delete it, the history will be there. Some website somewhere would be taking screenshots. We have archives.org, a website which shows that this was posted on this website, this was posted on that website. So when people are literally following you every time, every word you write, they take screenshots. Twitter, I can say when I started Twitter, I joined Twitter in 2009, but I started actively using it in 2011. It used to be a platform of interaction, exchange of ideas at that time. Twitter was a platform for sharing knowledge. But now, what is Twitter? Twitter is a battlefield now. Twitter, when it comes to Facebook, now these platforms are not for sharing knowledge. Now these platforms are attacking people, for defending people, for creating the narrative, for creating the false narrative, for information as well as misinformation.
Yes, sir.
So social media has changed a lot. And to be very frank, I am a little less active now. Little less. I used to be very active. One, when you're a lawyer, you don't get time to be always on Twitter.
Yes, sir.
You may be busy with your work, so that is why I'm not always on Twitter. When I was a journalist, I was there, always there. But now I get a little less time, and I'm very careful now. If I write something, you know how FIRs are filed against so many people for writing anything.
Yes, sir.
So this is why it's very dangerous tool now, Twitter or Facebook or social media. This is it.
Thank you so much, sir, for this great advice to our students. And that was all from my side, sir. It was great talking to you and quite encouraging and motivating also. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, sir. Have a great day, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.